Hi all, I welcome you all to this class on K-means clustering. This is in continuation with our course on Introduction to Machine Learning. In the last class, we looked at K nearest neighbors, and today we are looking at K-means clustering. So this K is common over here, but the meaning is different in both the cases, right? So K nearest neighbors, K meant the number of neighbors we are taking into consideration, okay, for our classification task, okay. Here in K means clustering, K means the number of clusters. Number of clusters I want my data to group into. Okay, KNN was a uh, supervised machine learning method. Okay, and this is K means clustering is unsupervised, right? Unsupervised machine learning method. So difference between supervised and unsupervised is that in supervised we have labeled examples that this row belongs to maybe it's a cat, it's picture of a cat, this row belongs to a dog or something like that. So this thing, this based on this data, this person has corona. Based on this data, this person does not have corona. So we have a y is always known. Here y is not known, so we do not have target variables. Okay, we do not know in which class my this data point belongs to, right? So this such problems comes under the purview of unsupervised learning, where I am just looking my data as a whole. I just want to group my data into some smaller clusters or smaller groups based on some similarities. Okay, so you think of as a like, so in school everybody wears the same uniform, but when they are moving in groups, then only we can say, okay, there are like 5 groups of children playing in the playground, right? I do not know which group belongs to which class, or which group belongs to maybe the sports team, or which group belongs to the dance society. So I do not have any label, but I just know that there are some group of children who are eating together or playing together in the recess or in the ground. So from a bird's eye perspective or from a distance, they all look the same. But during the recess, I can see some different groups. So my data is grouped based on some similarity, but there are no clearly mentioned labels. Okay, so K-means clustering is an unsupervised learning algorithm that will attempt to group similar cluster together. Okay, and it is unsupervised. These are important points. So some of the examples where we can use K-means clustering is that clustering similar documents together, right? So based on, suppose you are you want to read the news, and when you search for a particular topic, the Google will kind of collect all the news which are related to that particular topic, and it will present to you. So basically Google uses some kind of unsupervised learning or K-means clustering to provide suggestions for news, right? Then we have cluster customers based on the features. So suppose you are working on Amazon, Flipkart, or Myntra, and so there is no clear-cut classification as of this is a top priority customer or low priority customer, but you just want to cluster, okay, how my how my customer base is distributed. Okay, so you can based on the kind of transactions they are doing, the kind of products people are buying, so based on that you can make some groups. Okay, so this group is buying only products up to 5 to 10,000 and they are just mainly buying clothes. This other group is similar in a way that they are spending much amount, like 10 to 20 to 30,000, and they are buying electronics also, they are buying other products also, right? So based on this some underlying similarity, you are grouping the data points together. Then same concept you can apply to market segmentation, right? So so for suppose I want to launch Big Bazaar in tier 3 and tier 4 cities. So I want to figure out where should I open, or where should I buy land to open the Big Bazaar, a physical Big Bazaar store, right? So I can try to have a market segmentation based on the type of cities, or so like because Big Bazaar is a very big institution, very big company, just like Walmart. So it will be looking at a global or national level. So like now, see, like for like 4 or 5 years back, I think Walmart came into India. Now it wants to open the store, so it will be doing some market segmentation. So I have a store in Pune, I have a store in Bangalore. So should I open some stores in Delhi, Gurgaon, Noida, or Kolkata? Because they are metro cities, right? So in metro cities, if I in Bangalore I want to open 3 more new stores, so where should I choose so that I cater to all the maximum customers, something like that. But there is no clear cut, because where should you open the store does not have a label, right? So it's not a clearly defined problem. So you have to understand from data based on some similarities. You have to find some clusters and groups where you can actually get a meaning out of it. So basically it is used for if you have 1 lakh customers, so studying each customer individually is very difficult, right? So it's better if I can group them into 5 clusters or say 10 clusters, right? So basically if a person falls into any one cluster and I know the properties of the cluster, then I can identify the customer very well without spending much effort on it, right? And identify similar physical groups. Okay, so the overall goal is to divide data into distinct group such that the observation within each group are similar, right? So this is the situation. So this is my data. My data looks like this, but after applying k-means clustering, I want to have some groups like this, meaningful groups. So this means that all of these data points are somewhat similar to each other than to this point, right? So so all the data points lying inside a cluster are very similar to each other, then they are similar to data points lying in other cluster, right? So all these green points are similar to each other, all these brownish point are similar to each other, all these dark blue points are similar to each other. So this orange point and blue point are not similar to each other, they are more similar to the points which are lying in the same cluster. So this kind of grouping of data can be done with k-means clustering, or here k is equal to the number of clusters, say 1 2 3 4 5. So in this case k is equal to 5, right? And k we define based on our domain knowledge. Or suppose suppose I collected data from, like, overall, just like we're talking about the Walmart case study. If I collect data from all the cities of my of my country, and I want to group them together, so there is a very high probability that those 4 5 or 6 metro cities will be forming a big cluster. So it's a good idea to start your k value with 5 or 6, because I know the data is collected from cities of India. So there is a high probability that big cities will contribute to most of the clusters, right? So based on my domain knowledge, based on my experience, we have to define what should be the value of k. Okay. Next is, so this is the situation before k-means. So this is how my data looks like, right? So there can be multiple groups in this data, but when I apply k-means, I have clear-cut clusters or groups of data defined, right? This is my end goal. So this is my starting position. This is my result I want to have, right? So now what is the k-means algorithm? So let's break it down into steps, some steps that we can follow to achieve the desired output. So first of all, we need to choose a number of clusters k, and then we randomly assign each point to a cluster, right? So we will start with choosing a value of k, and then randomly assign all the points to any of the clusters, right? Suppose there are 100 points, my value of k is 3. So to start with, I will assign all the 100 points so randomly to maybe the first point belongs to the first group, second point belongs to the third group, the third point belongs to the first group, fourth point belongs to the first group. Randomly I will assign that, right? Then I will follow these 2 steps until the cluster stops changing. I will repeat the following. For each cluster, compute the cluster centroid by taking the mean vector of points in the cluster. So now let me explain what a centroid is, right? So centroid, you can think of it as a center of mass, or suppose you have points distributed like this, right? So if I want to assume this whole thing to be centered about a single point, then that point will be called a centroid. So I don't know if you have done that. So have you tried to rotate any notebook or register on your finger, right? So you can, if you place, so you have to place your finger somewhere at the center, so that it should balance. If you place your finger over here, it will not balance. So centroid or center of mass is assumed, is that point inside a physical body, like where we can assume that the whole mass can be concentrated over there, right? Or simply put, so if I have these many points, like say these are my points, I want to find a cluster point where or the center point. I will take the average, right? So it has x and y values. I will just take the average of x values, take the average of y values, and that point will give me the center point somewhere here only, right? So if my data looks like this, then we can take, if it is just one dimensional data, then this will be a centroid. This plus this divided by 3, right? If my data is 2-dimensional, then I will do summation of x divided by number of data points and summation of y divided by center of points. So my centroid xc yc will be what? Summation of xi, I is equal to n, and divided by n, comma, summation of yi up to n divided by n, right? So what is, so center, so for this particular cluster, suppose I have n points, right? So I want to find the coordinates of the centroid. So how will I do? I will add all the x coordinates, divide by the number of points, that will be the x coordinate, and the y coordinate will be take all the y coordinates of all the points, add them and divide by the total number of points. So basically find the mean of x coordinate, find the mean of or the average of y coordinates, and the point you will get will be the centroid of this particular data distribution or this particular thing. So basically, so your laptop has a centroid. So any object, any physical object that you can think of has a centroid. Centroid is a central point. So I hope you must have seen those videos where people are balancing different shape of stones on one on top of each other. So that whole thing of balancing is supported or is made possible because of the knowledge of centroids. Okay, so you cannot bend forward like Michael Jackson used to do, right? Because your center, so the centroid or center of mass of a human body is somewhere near the belly or the stomach of a person, right? So you so all the balance, all the running, jumping you are able to do, you are only able to do if you are able to balance your centroid, right? So you fall or you triple when your centroid is not balanced, right? That's just a introduction or summary of centroid. So we will find the, so basically for each cluster, so first of all, these are all my points. I will assign them to 1 2 3 different clusters initially. Then from the I will again find the centroid of the new clusters, again assign all the points to the nearest cluster. Then again I will find the centroid of the new clusters, then reassign all the points to the new cluster points, the near, based on the distance. And I'll keep repeating this thing until the points do not change. So this steps will become very clear in the next few slides, where we will look at the plots, right? So assign each data point to the cluster for which the centroid is the closest. So let's look at the right. So I have, suppose this is my initial starting data distribution. First step is that choose the number of k. So I chose the number of k to be 3. K is equal to 3, and I randomly assigned all these data points to one of the 3 clusters, right? So we have yellow cluster, pink cluster, and green cluster. I randomly assigned all these points to some clusters, right? So yellow point belongs to the yellow cluster, green point belongs to the green cluster. Now second step is to find the centroid of the clusters. So for the yellow points, this is the centroid. For the green points, this is the centroid. For the pink point, this is the centroid. Once I found the new centroids, now I will again assign all the points to the nearest cluster. So of course, this is the yellow point. So all the points over here will be part of this cluster because it is the nearest, right? And all these points will be a part of the pink cluster. All these points will be part of the green cluster, like this. In this picture, I have my new assignment has been done. Now my new assignment has been done. Now based on this distribution, I will again find the cluster centroids. I will find the new centroid is this, the pink centroid, new pink centroid is this, new green centroid is this. Now I will again do the assigning of all the points, right? So maybe like this point will come into the pink cluster, this will go to this remaining yellow cluster, these two may come in the green cluster, right? So I'll keep repeating until this assignment of points stops changing, right? See, so after this point, I don't think if you do it, if you keep doing it for multiple number of times, it will at some point it will stop assigning. So the points will become reach the state of an equilibrium that they are no more changing. Okay, so to define in better terms, we have like these are the steps. Choose the number of k clusters, select at random k points the centroids. Okay, so basically you can assign each of the point to any randomly to any cluster, or you can just pick, okay, I'm taking these three as my clusters. So let's say this is your data distribution and you take the value of k to be 2. So I say this is cluster 1 and this is cluster 2 randomly. Then I will assign. So I think all these points will fall into cluster 1. All these points will fall into cluster 2. right? Now I will again find the mean of this cluster, right? So maybe it will change to some position. This will become x1 and this becomes x2. I will again do the distribution of all the points, reassign all of them, and finally at a point when the reassigning the points are not reassigned, they remain the same, then I will stop this algorithm and I will say yes, I have these two big clusters defined, right? Assign each data point to the closest centroid that forms k clusters. Okay, so basically how the points are being assigned, for this point, assign this to that cluster for which for which it is at the minimum distance from the centroid. Okay, so one centroid is over here, this is the distance. Second centroid is over here, this is the distance. So this distance is smaller, that means this will fall into this particular cluster, right? And compute and place the new centroid of each cluster. So once assignment is done, I will again find, because previously it was not assigned to any cluster, now it is assigned to this cluster. That means I will find the cluster centroid. Okay, and reassign each data point to the new closest centroid. If any reassignment took place, go to step 4, otherwise go to finish finale, right? Final. So basically, let's go through a pictorial example, right? So first of all, choose number of k. So here I chose my k is equal to 2. So just based on observation, I can look like this. This is one cluster, this is one cluster, but this is one cluster. Just by looking at a distribution of data. But let's say for our example, I'm fixing the value of k to be 2. Like I'm forcing my algorithm to divide this into just 2 groups, right? So there can be many groups. Now there is one quick question: in how many groups can you divide? What are the number of maximum values of k in which you can divide your data set? Right. So I suppose I have, say, 100 points like this.
Yeah.
In how many clusters can you? What are the maximum number of clusters you can divide this data into? K max.
So there is 100. Yeah.
Correct.
So
Correct.
there are
Yes,
100 such points.
yes. So every point becomes one cluster. That's the maximum, right? That's the correct answer. So like in
is equal to 100.
Yeah. Correct. So maximum number of clusters is equal to maximum number of data points in my data set. Right, that's the answer. So in interviews, you may be asked such questions like, and one important question is that what is k in KNN and what is k in k means. So just keep in mind all these things, because KNN means k nearest neighbors. That means k means nearest neighbors. K means k is the number of clusters. Okay, now select at random k points the centroid, not necessarily from a data set. So now I am just assuming any two random points. So this is one cluster, this is one cluster centroid, right? I am selecting any random k points and they need not to be a part of my data set. So not from these points, it can be from any the centroids need not to be a part of my data set, right? They should not be from my data set. They can be any number. Okay, so once assign each data point to the closest centroid. So now for this centroid, find distance of all the points, and if this point is closest to this one, it goes to this centroid. If this point is closest to this one, it will go into this particular group. This point is closest to this one. So basically distance calculation you have to do, or a better way is to use geometry, right? So if I join these two lines, draw the perpendicular bisector, then I know from mathematics that all the points lying this side are closest to this point, and all the points lying on this side of the line are closest to this point. So based on this, I will have a distribution like this. Now I have assigned all the points to any of the clusters. So now one iteration is done. I have divided my data into two clusters. Now I will again find the centroid of this and centroid of this. Right, the new centroid is these are the new centroids. I will move it to here and I will change my assignment of points again. Right, so now these are my new, reassign data point to the new closest centroid. Right, so how now I will again divide my data. I will again assign all the data points to the nearest centroid. Right, so I will draw the perpendicular bisector. All these points will come into this cluster. All these points will come into this cluster. Right, so previously these 2 points are blue. Now they became red, right? And this point was red, it became blue. So the assignment changed, right? So now I will again, once this is a second iteration. Once the assignment changed, I will again find the centroid. Now the new centroid is this one and this one, and I will again draw this line and reassign all the points, and finally I got this one, right? The points got reassigned, right? Previously it was in the red point, now it became a blue point, right? And since now it became a new point, I will find the centroid of this thing and I will find the centroid of this thing again. I found the new centroid. Now I will again look for the do the assignment of my data points, right? So based on assignment, they did not change. See, all these were red before, and after that, all these are still red. That means kind of no, the assignment of point did not change, right? Here I will again find the centroid. The new centroid is over here. Now for these new centroids, I will assign all the points again to the nearest cluster. So if I draw a line, this point came into red thing, the rest of the points remain same. Right now, this is my new cluster. I will again find the centroid of this, and I will find the centroid of this. And based on this, this is the assignment, right? So now see, in the previous and here, no new point assignment changed, right? So all the points that belong to the red group remained in the red group. All the points that belong to the blue group remained in the blue group. So nothing changed. So if I do it again multiple times, it will not, the centroid is not going to shift. Then I can clearly say that my model is ready. I have divided my data into two clusters, right? So this is a simple mathematical algorithm to divide your cluster into two data sets, right? So two into two clusters, right? If the value of k was 3, I will do the same thing again for 3 clusters, right? Now one question is, how can you choose a value of k? First of all, it should be some domain knowledge, right? So if I check that if the k value of 2, I get these groups. If the value of k is 3, I get these 3 groups. If the value of k is 4, I get these 4 groups. If the value of k is 5, I get these 5 groups. I think this the value, like 5 looks perfect, because it is like I can visually see that it is kind of looks right, but I can still go keep increasing the value of k to 6, 7, 8 and 9. So what is the best way of doing it? Can you try to answer this question? How can I figure out a best value of k? So the answer is the elbow method. We saw it yesterday. Same thing we have to do, right? So there is no easy way to answer for choosing a best value of k. The only way is, one way is that elbow method, right? We saw an elbow method. So first of all, same for a multiple number of k values, I will find the sum of squared error, just like we did yesterday. Error I will find out, and I will choose that value of k where the error is minimum, or after a particular value of k, there is not much change in the error. So I will keep I will fix my value of k at that particular changing point, right? Where my error is from it decreases, it is minimum, and from after that point, it is not decreasing anymore. Right. So if you plot k against the SSE, you will see that the error decreases as k gets larger. This is because when the number of clusters increases, they should be smaller. So distortion is also smaller. So now what is it? It is saying that, so I have my data distribution like this, right? If I have to divide it into just two clusters, then like this and this, center point is here, center point is here, it will have some errors, right? The error means the distance or the variance, right? Now if I increase the number of clusters in the same data point, this and this, then you can just for your understanding, this circular region or this boundary will keep becoming smaller and smaller. That means it will become closer to the data points, and when it becomes closer to the data points, the error will decrease by itself. So this error, or you can say distortion, is also smaller. This is what what is meant with this paragraph. The idea of elbow method is to choose the value of k at which the SSE decreases abruptly. So we saw in the previous class also, like at some point it will decrease abruptly. So this will be my value of k, right? This is the general trend which is observed, because it's suppose you have data, and after like 5 clusters you get these 5 clusters. If you make now 10 clusters also, it will be like like this only, right? So it will not, the error will not decrease any further. It will decrease significantly initially when you are starting with cluster 2, cluster 3, cluster 4, cluster 5 cluster, but at some point the error will not decrease much, right? So I will choose that meaningful value of k where this abrupt change is happening. So this produces an elbow effect in the graph. So I told you this is like an elbow. So till here it is decreasing at a very higher rate, and after that it decreases slowly. So it looks like a hand, right? Or this point becomes the elbow point. So you can take a look at this example. So it's the same plot we plotted yesterday. This is the number of clusters, and this is the within group sum of squares. So basically, this is the error between the groups. Between the groups, like I have these clusters. So what is the error here? This is the center point. What is the error here? What is the error here? I am totaling all that error, and as the value of k increases, so if I increase the value of k, right? This error will decrease. So error, you can think of this particular distance. Error is the farthest point from the centroid, right? Just to make this idea concrete, right? So if I increase the number of circles, or you can say clusters, this radius will of course decrease, so I will have lesser error. So you will get a plot something like this: error versus a number of clusters, right? K value. So at this particular point, it is decreasing abruptly. So you can choose either this value or this value, it doesn't matter. But if you are choosing value of 12, 13, 14, it is not causing much change, right? So only they are almost same. So, but if you increase the value of cluster, then it becomes the whole point of clustering my data or grouping my data into smaller groups is to make the understanding or make learning with the data easier. So if I keep so very high number of values, so like for just like you said, for 100 points I am making 100 clusters, then there is no point of dividing this into data into groups, right? So it's good to have some like limited number of meaningful clusters. Okay, so this is what k-means clustering is all about, right? So now if we have time, I'll just quickly show you how to do this thing in Python. Okay, so we have this open here, right? So same, it is just saying the method used over here. So now we are looking at how to implement the same thing in Python. So just like any other machine learning algorithm, all the mathematics, all the calculation is being done by the machine learning library scikit-learn, sklearn. Okay, we will just import that library into our program and make it do all the processing, all the calculations for us, right? So just so this is the same concept, this is the same theory that we discussed in the slides. So starting with, we will start with importing the libraries, right? So we'll be using Seaborn and Matplotlib, right? In this particular example, we are not using pandas because we will be generating our own data for the sake of understanding, right? So from sklearn.datasets, there is a process called, there is a method called make blobs. So blobs, like it will create.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Yes, Anup.
Is the screen like changed, sir? Are you doing in
Okay, yes.
Anaconda platform?
Yes.
I think we can
share again, yeah. Okay. So now we are looking at, I hope my screen is shared now. You can see the Jupyter notebook, right?
Yes, sir. Now it's visible.
Yeah. So basically, this is the Python implementation of k-means clustering, how to apply or how to implement k-means clustering using Python. And we will be using the library called scikit-learn. It will do all the maths and all the calculations for us. And we will just let's get started, right? So I'll start with importing all the necessary libraries like Seaborn and Matplotlib. I'm not using NumPy or Pandas over here because I'll be generating my own data for the sake of understanding, right? So from the sklearn library and the module datasets, we have a functionality called make blobs. So make blobs is used to generate the synthetic, or you can say simulate data, make fake data, right? So how to create data? I'll just use this method, make blobs. How many data rows, how many rows I want, and samples, like rows and samples are the same thing. I want 200 samples. And what are the number of features? I want 2 features only, just 2 columns I want. And I want centers, like how many centers you want. So basically I know the centers beforehand, right? So I have 4 centers. So basically all these 200 rows will be centered around 4 clusters. It will be presented in 4 clusters. This is the cluster standard deviation and the random state. If you want to create the same data set as mine, then you should keep the random state as 101, right? So this is what my data looks like. So basically it has given me some 200 rows of data, and there are 2 columns as you see over here, and they are so they do not make any sense like this. And there is there is a target column also. So here for this particular case, we know in which cluster all of these data points belong, right? So using this method, data the zeroth at the 0th index, I have all the data. At index 1, I have the target variables. Target variables means in out of the 4 clusters, each row belong to which cluster, right? So if I check the target variable, it is like first row belongs to 3rd cluster, second row belongs to 2nd cluster, third row belongs to the 0th cluster, right? So now if I want to visualize my data, it looks like this. So basically I'm doing a scatter plot of all the rows of the first column with all the rows of the second column. And the C means the color, you can say the third parameter, right? So the color is given based on the cluster they belong to. So this is what my data actually looks like, right? We have created this hello, do you have any questions? I hope you're not audible. Your voice is breaking. I think there is some bad connection.
Sir, screen is not visible. The screen is visible.
Screen is not visible, but it is sharing. Let me
You
share it.
restart.
Let me share
Oh,
it.
sir, okay. Actually, I'm outside.
Let me share it again. Yeah. Is it visible now?
I think
I think Shashi, your network is poor because Anoop can see the screen and we can. Okay, okay, okay. Your voice is breaking badly. Is it fine, sir? Shall we proceed? Because it's only 7 minutes remaining. Okay, so we are proceeding, right? So this is what my actual data looks like because I have created this data myself. So I said I need 4 centers, so it has given me 4 clusters by itself. Now what I will do, I will use k nearest neighbors, k means clustering from sklearn library to divide this into our data into 3 clusters, and I'll check with whether it is doing correct classification or not. So basically, just to understand, for our understanding, I have created this a data set to fall into 4 clusters. Right now, I will from sklearn.cluster, I will import k-means, right? Because this is an unsupervised machine learning algorithm, so there will be no training and testing split, right? So I will not be splitting my training and testing data because there is no example to learn from. It is an unsupervised technique, so there is no training and testing split happening over here, right? So from sklearn.cluster, I'll import k-means and I'll create an instance of k-means for n is equal to 3 clusters, right? I will fit my data into my data zero. Data zero means only the 2 columns, not the label column. Only on those 2 columns, these 2 columns, I'm fitting my k-means algorithm. Once I fit in the k-means algorithm, I can get the k-means cluster like this, and this is the actual clusters in which it belongs, and this is what my algorithm says they belong to these clusters, right? So let's plot these two together to get an understanding how my model is performing, right? So basically I'm using plt.subplots. I want for 1 row and 2 columns, the y is same and the figure size is bigger because I want to see 2 plots side by side. On the first axis, I'm the title is k-means, which is this one, left one, or in the first axis I'm plotting data zero, all the column. So I'm plotting the first column of data with the second column of data, and the k-means and the labels or the color of the data points are based on the labels given by my algorithm, and this is the color scheme I'm following. And the second axis is the original data. It is plotting the first row with the second row, and the and the cluster or the color is based on the actual grouping, right? So basically the left side is what my model gave me. So when k-means tried to divide this data into 3 clusters, this is what it looks like, and this is the original data that this is how the original data looks like. So basically this, I think this particular cluster is nicely is like, there are some errors, but it is nicely identified. This cluster is perfectly identified, but this cluster, like there are 2 clusters over here, but I have given only one. I have given the k value of 3, so it has taken all these things into just one cluster, right? So what it gives me is that my model, my knn algorithm, was able to clearly identify the clusters, right? So if I increase the value of k, I will actually get this perfect cluster itself, right? So this is it, what I have to discuss in k-means clustering, right? So if you want to change, if you want to ask any questions, you can ask now. You can try out by changing this value of k is equal to 4. If you do it 4, we should get clusters exactly as this one, right? So I think we are done for now, and you have any questions, you can ask. So k-means clustering is what? It will try to divide your data into k clusters. It is an unsupervised machine learning technique, and how it does is that it will start with assign like first specify a number of clusters, then randomly assign all the data points into some clusters, then the algorithm will iterate by using this. It will reassign all the data points to the closest centroid, to the closest cluster, and it will keep assigning all the points to the new clusters till the assignment of data points stops changing. Okay, right? So for our example, we have created our own data set, with 4 clusters, and there are 200 rows using this method called make blobs from sklearn.dataset, right? And these are the labels. These are the labels of my actual data set. Really, the data belongs to these different clusters, right? This is how my data looks like. And when I want to create a machine learning algorithm, k-means, I want to apply this to my data set, I will import k-means from the sklearn.cluster module, right? I will instantiate it. I'm instantiating with 3 clusters intentionally, just to show how well it is doing, right? And then I'm fitting it on my data on only the 2 columns that I've created. These are the cluster centers. So finally we will be having some clusters. So these are the coordinates of those 3 clusters, centroids, right? These are the actual labels, actual clusters on which my data falls into. This is what my model says they fall into. Now when I plotted both of them side by side, this is the model prediction, this is the actual data distribution. So model is predicting only 3 clusters because I have asked to make it 3 clusters, but actual model has 4 clusters. So your exercise can be to try it by using 4 cluster or 3 cluster or maybe 5 clusters, right? You can try all that out. And I also have say an exercise for you, right? So I have already shared so where you have to actually divide it. So the data set is from colleges, and you have to divide your you have to cluster the colleges based on the different features, whether they are private or where they are government colleges, right? So basically you just have to keep answering these questions. So this is my data, right? So ultimately I have my point of whether the college is private, or yes or no means it is not private, it's government, right? So you have to, so it's kind of a complete project where you have to perform some exploratory data analysis, you have to make some plots, right, like this. So it will be a good activity if you do it on your own. And if you face any questions, any problems, you can always come up to me, okay, or post in the WhatsApp group. So that's all for today. Thanks a lot for your time.